God, it's that time again. So around this time last summer, I happened across the One Excellent Scene video challenge, in which bigger YouTube movie channels such as Nando V Movies opened up an invitation for people to post videos regarding their favorite scenes or moments from the X-Men franchise. And they are continuing the tradition this year with the One Villainous Scene challenge. I guess in anticipation of the new Suicide Squad movie, in which people are invited to share about their favorite villains and favorite moments from those villains. I can feel as though there's going to be a lot of focus on the supervillain variety, whether it's from Marvel, DC, or other assorted comic book franchises. So I wanted to do something a little different and talk about one of my favorite recent villains from one of my favorite recent horror thriller films. And that would be the character of David Collins from the movie The Guest. Now, before I go any further, I do recommend, if you haven't seen 2014's The Guest yet, go watch it first, come back, start this video again, and see if you are on the same wavelength with me about this character, his portrayal, and the specific moment that I will mention in this video. But if you don't care about spoilers too much and would just want to power through here, then I'll go ahead and give you a brief synopsis about The Guest. Basically, this is a story about a combat veteran named David coming to this idyllic town to visit the family of one of his deceased comrades in arms. And he fits himself into the family dynamic pretty quickly, establishes a bond with the younger sibling Luke, but the elder sibling Anna is very suspicious of him, and rightly so, because as things start to mount and more complications arise with regards to his current situation, it's revealed that David is actually a trained killer.
I'll cut you a deal. You can take them all off my hands.
No, I'm going to kill you.
Hey, what the fuck, David?
Like a remorseless trained killer who straight up has no qualms about ending your life if you are an obstacle to him. And he's on the run from a shadowy black ops organization and will not hesitate to put all these innocents that he's surrounded himself with in harm's way in order to break away clean. That's basically what the movie's about. In the hands of a lesser director, thank goodness it's Adam Wingard directing this movie, it would have been a very pedestrian type of thriller. But thanks to Wingard's very precise direction regarding tension and escalating the stakes very slowly over the course of the film, and thanks a lot to the characterization from Dan Stevens, David Collins has become one of my new favorite horror icons. So a little bit about David, because you'll notice I've been doing this a lot when I say David, is that we're not sure if David is his actual name. He is actually very much a walking enigma. We don't know what his true origins are. We're never really given much background regarding what his motivations are for being the way he is, other than he was part of this government research program that just excelled at making him a ruthless killer and apparently burned out a lot of the inhibitions towards that particular compulsion. So he's mysterious in motivation, mysterious in origin, but is just so chock full of charm and personality. It's almost as if Mike Myers was given a personality. And that's no slant against Mike Myers, because I believe Mike Myers is one of the all-time horror kings, no doubt. But he is more so in his movies just a force of nature. He's there to do one specific thing, which is kill people by any means necessary, and he sets out doing that. David is of a similar kind of mindset wherein if you get in his way of achieving whatever objective it is he's out to get, he will end you, no matter what. But then, he's also a chameleon. He's very good at assimilating himself into a variety of complex interpersonal situations and relationship dynamics. Whether he's able to be the shoulder for a grieving mother to cry on, whether he is a sympathetic ear to a frustrated dad who isn't satisfied with his work, whether he is trying to assume the role of being that inspirational older sibling that maybe a younger sibling is missing, or maybe just on a purely physical level.
31 these.
Yeah. The thirst is real. There is a lot there for a character who could run the risk of being very one note, and it's a lot having to do with Wingard's direction and the way Dan Stevens plays him. You get the sense right from frame one with him that there is something off about this guy, but you'd almost expect that from a soldier who's probably experienced PTSD and some sort of long-lasting trauma, that he's just trying to work through that. That could be the assumption if we weren't aware of what kind of movie this was. Stevens plays that very sincerely. He's able to be quiet and reserved. He's able to be supportive and charming, and again,
I'm sorry.
cool baby, but you always know there's this underlying kind of bass track of malevolence to him. And it comes out, certainly in the more violent aspects of the film. There's also this intimidation, this threatening demeanor that he kind of carries within himself, just barely containing at times, that makes him just so fascinating to watch. And no more so does that idea and its ambiguity come across than in this moment that he has a heart-to-heart kind of with the younger brother, Luke. At this point, it's been established that Luke is something of a troubled kid. He has bully problems at school. He's insecure. He surely is missing the influence of his older brother, feels somewhat disconnected from his older sister and his parents, and in comes this brotherly figure to kind of take him under his wing, to instruct him in the ways of being a man, I guess.
You look like you got hit or something.
Yeah, I got hit with a football in gym class.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
This character actually looks out for him. David actually takes some initiative in trying to help Luke establish a more dominant presence and a more take charge kind of attitude in his life. So when it comes around to the point that Anna has suspicions about David and wants Luke's help in uncovering the mystery of his origins, Luke does oblige, but he's conflicted. It's further escalated when, again, David helps him out with a bully problem at school and actually has his back, keeps him from getting expelled. So it results in this little moment in the high school where Luke basically lays it all out there for him and says, look, I know what you've been up to. I know what you really are in terms of being a killer, in terms of being kind of ruthless. And Luke says he doesn't care about any of that.
I'm not going to say anything.
Why not?
Because we're friends.
Dan Stevens has this moment where he plays David as almost being switched on to kill mode, almost getting ready to silence this kid who may be threatening to unveil his whole scheme, but then stops and listens and puts back on the appearance of civility and friendship.
Yeah. Of course we are.
And it's frightening with how ambiguous he plays that. I've watched this scene a lot of times, and at no point does Dan really give away too much of what he probably felt David should be conveying here. At no point does he kind of play the hand of, oh, well, he's clearly lying, or oh, he's clearly feeling something towards this kid's camaraderie. And I've seen people debate this scene many times saying well, the kid's actually the first real friend that David has had, and so that makes David kind of switch off his instant kill mode, so to speak. But I choose not to really think of it that way. I feel that's too simple and too saccharine of a solution for that particular setup in the scene. As we established before, David is a chameleon. Whatever the situation, whatever the relationship dynamic or power level in that relationship dynamic, he immediately finds a way to set himself up as the one with the upper hand in it. Like I said, whether it's being able to establish himself in this new family, whether it's being able to establish himself with some new contacts and friendships, for lack of a better term, whether it is to secure himself in terms of his provisions and firearm and equipment. He has the resources and the ingenuity to make that happen. And so when Luke basically offers up this monkey wrench in his scheme, you could read it as feeling legitimately kind of touched by the sacrifice the kid is willing to set for him. You could interpret it as David actually acknowledging him as a friend. And maybe on some very remote level, he does consider this troubled kid something of a kindred spirit. But I choose to view it more that it's just another situation that he has to quickly adapt to, that he has quickly ingratiated himself into and established his own set of rules. This kid is demonstrating loyalty to me. Let's see where this goes, because that could absolutely turn towards my advantage later on. But again, it's a very subtle and very subdued kind of performance that he doesn't give the trick away. So much so that, like I said, there's a little bit of a back and forth as to what David is actually feeling, if he's feeling anything at all in this moment. Has he truly found a friend, or is he simply assessing and analyzing the situation very much like an algorithm or a robot would? And that's frankly the more chilling aspect of the character. This flesh and blood, ruthless killer is unbelievably analytical in all of his moments of socialization, of interaction, and in terms of knowing where the power levels lie in those interactions and how to exploit them. And that is so chilling and so effective, not just in this scene, but throughout the whole movie. Even later on when things are pretty black and white and he's blowing up people and stabbing chaperones at a school dance, it's chilling, it's unforgiving, and it's charming at the same time. And it's one of the reasons I keep coming back to The Guest over and over again. And again, not just because.
I guess I better go get dressed.
Yeah, you should probably do that.
I need to go to the gym.